I'm taking this video of the cemetery located at St. Mary's Catholic Church in Seymour, Wisconsin, just north of Shullsburg, Wisconsin. Just zooming in on a couple of things as helpful pointers for people who might want to come here. This could get really boring quickly because I'm going to walk past almost every headstone. I'm looking for relatives mainly on the Judkins family, but also Armstrongs and anything that might jump out to anybody who's willing to watch this. The McWilliamses are family members for sure. I don't know all of the connections of these people, but they do go back in my family history for sure. You see all these McWilliamses here. I'll probably be quiet during a lot of this. You should be thankful for that, but I do want to zoom in on a few of them. One of the priests or pastors here, I guess. Pretty interesting headstone. More McWilliamses going back to the 1800s. A lot of them from the mid-1800s. I know I'm going to run into my grandpa Eddie's family, Eddie Judkins and Orrin and those, and they go back to the 1800s. I don't know who these belong to. The Fleming family, that's what those last two headstones were for. Gow. McComish, I know that matters. Let's zoom in on a couple of these names. Infant daughter, Mother Mary, Father Joseph. Macaulay, I love seeing all the Irish names here. Some people who watch this video may not be relatives, so I'm trying to include, it's kind of hard to see here. But anyway, moving right along. Mulcahy. Michael Mulcahy. Good old Myrtle, love that name. Henry Morgan. Lots of O'Connors. I'm not going to do every headstone just because, fact is, I don't know those families. Boy, there's a lot of O'Connors here, though, if you're looking for family members. Logan. Richard Roach. He died relatively young. Morgans. At least we're getting out in the sunlight now. Callaghan. This might take longer than I thought. I know my dad's headstone is actually quite a ways towards the back. Gables, this is kind of interesting. Just I worked with a guy named Gable, his last name. Some of these are so hard to see. They are so old that the writing is almost completely gone. You can check the record online, but hard to read. The Weigel family. That's really a cool headstone. Can't see much information on it, but yeah, everything's so hazy. Jimmy Fox. The Doyles. Prudence's wife. I like that. 1840s. Yeah, I'm not sure who these belong to even. Might be, well, the McWilliams are behind there. We'll find out in a minute, maybe. Snyder and Schneider. These, if I look back into the family history, this is kind of interesting. Son of John and Jane McCarville, McWilliams, former county judge of Rock County, soldiered 26 months in World War I, mostly in France. He lived in a house by the side of the road, and he was a friend to man. What a great headstone. Another military member from the family. Joseph Mayer. Sauer. James McWilliams, 1826, 1904. That's cool. Here we go. Catherine, looks like a McWilliams, but native of Goderi, Ireland. It's pretty cool. Yeah. Lots of McWilliamses. This is Alice, wife of M. McWilliams. Yeah, just can't see enough. Pretty monumental tombstone though. Mary Walsh, I presume. Yeah, just can't read it, but that's pretty cool. Lots of Morgans. Not familiar with that name, but they were, well, I am of the name, but not of the family members in particular. Other McWilliams. Goodness gracious. I should do an in-depth look into that because, oh, McDevitt. Anna Nuts. Another McDermott, it looks like. Kind of hard to read. And McWilliams, February 1875, age 83 it looks like. Elmer, mother, father, Morgans. John Ziegenfuss. Another large gable. It'd be interesting to talk to my friend, Father William. See if there's any relationship out here. More Morgans. Annie, but kind of worn. This is always important, recognizing the unborn. Bradleys, not sure which family. Of course, we had Bradleys in our family. There's a Patrick Bradley, died in 1886. Another Patrick Bradley. Oh, maybe it's something. Patrick. Keep your eyes open, Patrick. Peter Gall. Too hard to read, but pretty cool. Arthur Boyle. Boyles, I think the Boyles that I am aware of are the pastor, actually, the priest. Burks, that's a name I'm familiar with, but I don't really know them. Well, there's a name I'm real familiar with. Judkins, Daniel, 1860 to 1906, Charles, 1858 to 1918, and Philip, 1856. Those might have been my grandpa's uncles, is what I'm thinking, but I'll have to check into that. Grandpa Eddie Judkins' uncles. Morgans, again. More gables. That's very interested in talking to my friend about that. See if he has any relatives this way. More Weigels. It must be these. I think these go with it. Elizabeth. Wow. She had a long life. 95. Considering she was born that long ago. Philip. Charlie J. Step up my pace here. Armstrongs. Not sure if that's on my grandma's side. John Armstrong. Margaret Armstrong died December 30th, 1888. Another impressive stone, but pretty hard to read. Brian Elizabeth. Can't read the last name. Logans, Thomas, oh yeah, and my bike. These are the Logans here. Mary, Anastasia. Yep. More McWilliams. Wilfred A. Patricia Dwyer. Parents of Mark, Tim, John, and Jean. Infant son of Joseph and Mary. Joseph and Mary McWilliams. That's pretty cool. Edward McWilliams. Ella. Weigels. Share this to their page too. McWilliams. Contemporary of my dad, Paul McWilliams. There we go. William J. Judkins. I don't know if that's my grandpa's dad, maybe, or Mary Jane. Yeah, Mary Jane, I believe, was a McWilliams. I should know this stuff, but I don't. But that's a very important marker. The Flemings. The Boyles. The Morgans. It's interesting if you boil it down, probably 90% of the people in this cemetery have 6 last names. Where McWilliams is. Weigels. Rosa Boyle. McComish. Helen McWilliams. William Judkins. So this is one of my grandpa's brothers, I believe, and Monica. Oh yeah, that's right. Another of my grandpa's brothers. Judkins, Mary R, and Orrin. Another one of my grandpa's brothers. Weigels. Rosa Josephine, full name. Stanley Weigel, facing backwards. Ah, Leahy, a baby Leahy boy. Contemporaries of my grandpa. Another baby Weigel. Contemporary of my dad. Boyles, Nancy, and James. Still have some open strips along here. I don't know that I plan on being buried anywhere actually, but if I was, this might not be a bad place. Kavanaugh's. More Morgans. Millers, Mary Jo, Weigels. So, Grandma and Grandpa, my grandparents, Eddie, and Grandma, good old Elsie. Loved them both. Works. O'Connor. New name, the Floods. Snyder. Grams. Goffinette, that's an unusual name. He died as a young boy. Well, here's the sweet spot for me. This is my mom and dad. Do a little housekeeping here. My mom, Maydeen, just less than a week away from the, do some math in my head here, 1963, 58th anniversary of her death. My dad has been gone, 26 years, I guess. You know, my sisters were out here earlier this summer, and I put these flowers there in the cross. That's very nice. Weigels, John, Rose, and Lloyd. "22 years old. I wonder if he died, and it looks like he probably did die in Vietnam based on the date. Thank you, Lloyd, for your service." Leahy's. Weigel. Bunch of Weigels here. I think you pronounce it Weigel. I think sometimes I said Wiggle when I was a kid, but it is Weigels. Baby boy. Leahy's. Probably a bunch of them around, but they were next door neighbors to my grandpa and Uncle Glenn's farm, the ones that I knew. He died as a young man too, Luke Dean Weigel. Getting close. More McWilliams, Edwin, and Marcella Elliott. O'Neill, Patrick J. and Lucille. One of my favorite uncles, Glenn Judkins. He was such a guy. I loved Glenn. My dad's brother, next oldest brother. He had an older brother named Rob, that Robert was buried elsewhere. Dorothy McComb. More McWilliams. Urban and Mom. Mary. Reichling, that name sounds familiar for some reason. Here's good old Glenn. Glenn and Barb. My dad's brother and my Aunt Barb Myler. What a sweetheart she was too. We're almost to the end. More Weigels. Elmer and Hildegard. Don't run into too many Hildegards anymore. Brennan. McComish. Joe Leahy. I think this was my my uncle's neighbor. I suppose my grandpa's too, but they were on the same farm. My uncle took over my grandpa's farm. Too short of a life right there. Coming up to the last row. Schollmeyer. Monson. A few Monsons here. Aunt and uncle. They called him Gary, James Gary. Gary and Josephine. Josephine is my dad's youngest sister. That sweet woman is still alive, and just saw her a little while ago. Gary was such a great guy too. Truly a loving man. The ravages of diabetes, I believe, took him, is what it all came down to. That concludes the tour of St. Mary's Cemetery in Seymour, Wisconsin, about 6 miles north of Schulzburg on Highway O. Have a great day.